Good afternoon again, guys. Thank you guys for this is another episode of the Mill Social Talk podcast. Today we have Miss Bola on, and you know we had a great time at the event that we met along with Gabby. Gabby has been on the podcast many times before, and so she's gonna bring us something that's called Bank On Illinois.
Yes.
All right. And I'm gonna let her introduce herself because, and then she can go ahead. This is the Mill Social Talk podcast. And if you're listening to us on Facebook, you'd always go back to millsreal.com and see all of our podcasts. It's called millsreal.com. This will be on our website. Again, guys, thanks for listening. Ms. Bola, I wanted you to, by the way, this is Gabby.
Hello.
From Devon Bank. All right, and Bola, I want Mrs. Bola to introduce yourself.
My name is Bola Delano. I work for the Illinois Office of the Comptroller, Susanna Mendoza. And I actually run the program called Bank On Illinois. It covers the whole of the state. The whole idea is to target people who are banked or who are not banked, meaning unbanked or underbanked, to actually get accounts opened with no charges, with using their ITIN numbers or any form of identity to start the path of financial empowerment for future needs, meaning either buying a house, buying a car, or actually just living within the state of Illinois.
Okay, so as I get that you're saying, and I guess this ties into I-10.
Yes.
So people who are underbanked,
Yes, underbanked.
Or don't have any,
unbanked.
or unbanked, so you do not need an ID.
You need an ID.
Some kind of ID.
Some kind of an ID.
Okay.
But banks normally, shall we say in the old days, you either had to have a passport or a state ID.
Mm-hmm.
Now we actually accept ITIN numbers, but alongside that, due to the influx of migrants into the city of Chicago and the state of Illinois, you can also use your foreign passports to actually open accounts. Yes.
Okay.
And I must say, it's a pleasure being at Devon Bank today, because this is where Bank On Illinois actually started.
Okay, Devon Bank doing his thing.
Yes.
So because of the program that you're talking about, so the migrants that comes in, they come in with whatever ID they have.
Yes.
And that gives them that opportunity to say, okay, no problem. We will give you an account, or we will create an account for you.
They will work with them to open an account. So in some cases, you might need a letter from the consulate.
Okay.
Or most of them, when they either come in, they either have a passport or they have a paper from the consulate. And then the state, well, in this case, the city, most importantly, is also issuing what we call the city key. And so with all that kind of information, you can actually open an account at any of our participating banks.
Okay, what is the city key?
The city key is an additional form of identity which allows people to go to libraries. You can use it for healthcare. You can use it for certain things. It's not going to be the permanent form of ID, but it's a supporting form of ID to any other form of ID you have to open an account.
The city key ID.
Yes.
City
Okay.
key. And there's other benefits to the city key. You can have, I believe there's discounts to different stores and things like that. But something that I want to mention is Bank On is not necessarily for, not exclusively for somebody, for immigrants, let's say. So let's say that I had a checking account that, when I was younger, I didn't know how to manage, right? And I wrote some checks when there was no funds, maybe. So that goes into check systems. So then, now that I'm an adult, now that I understand how finances work, I want to open up a checking account or a savings account, and the bank runs that, and they say, no, you didn't do very well, so we're not going to be able to open this account for you. So what happens is there's an alternate account, let's say, each depending on the bank. If the bank is participating, they can say, well, we do have this other account, maybe doesn't have access to, maybe not a debit card, maybe, not not a credit card,
Not
maybe
a-
not
yeah.
checks, but it might have just a debit card. So it's a little bit more, and there's not going to be any non-sufficient funds. There's a lot of good stuff for that checking account, for maybe even for somebody that is starting off, right, or that they don't
Yeah.
have any background. Maybe a young person that, a young adult that just wants to get into banking and doesn't really trust him or herself, that, I just want something that will keep me still accountable of my finances to make sure that I'm all paid. Is that correct?
Yes, and so I must emphasize that yes, if you have made mistakes in the past, and then you go into a bank and you want to open a bank on account, you must all learn to understand what check systems does.
Right.
So check systems is a reserve pot of information. And in the old days, I keep saying the old days because things have moved on, they would refuse you opening an account. But now, under the Bank on Illinois and Bank on Chicago programs, you can actually open accounts, and then they help you manage your money, monitor your money, and build your finances. I think it's also important to note that we also we ensure that you get some form of financial education as well. And so it's not just going in and opening an account, it's also making sure that you get the education to be able to manage your money as well and build your credit so you can buy a house, you can buy a home, you can actually rent accommodation, and so on and so forth.
So I'm going to say...
So quick question.
Yeah.
Is that a program like you remember the bank had where you just you put money on a debit card?
No.
Is it that system?
No.
And I say I don't know the system, but
Yeah.
where you
It's
get a
very
debit
simple.
card, you put $300 and then you can.
That's
No.
more or less a secure
No,
credit.
The
it's
secure
not.
credit card.
Yeah.
Secure
Right,
credit
okay.
cards. No,
No,
these
it's
are
different.
actual bank accounts.
Yeah.
And you can open them with a minimum of $5 as a deposit.
Yeah.
Okay.
The whole idea is to get you into the system. So I always crack the joke that as an international person as well, if you don't have an account, you don't have an identity.
Okay.
You definitely don't. You can't get around, so you end up using predatory
lending, yeah.
lending money. And so once you open an account, you can pay your bills. You only need to have $5 maximum in some banks. Some ask for 20, but they're then going to help you build your finances and your knowledge and your power to become more independent in the financial world.
So, Debbie, I wanted to mention something that, using the example of young Gabby, when I made mistakes in the past, if Bank On didn't exist and I wanted to, but I have a job right now, and I have a check, the only option for me before Bank On was to go to the currency
Exchange.
and cash my check. And then guess what? Have to pay a percentage or a fee.
Yeah,
And, I don't get benefit from that.
absolutely.
So that is, now that there's Bank On, I don't have to do that. It's not, it doesn't have to be, it's not the only option. There's this that there's no fee also for it. And somebody like Gabby, that now it's an adult, can take advantage of this. Is that correct?
Yes, and young Bola can do the same too. Young Bola can do the same too. As somebody from another country, it was very difficult to open an account years ago. And so if you didn't have a social security number, you could not open an account. And so young Bola even though she had a job and whatever, she actually had to take her first check to the bank to open an account.
Right.
And so things have changed. Now you don't need that. And one of the big things we've done with Bank on Illinois is, again, in the old days, everybody got a debit card for their unemployment security. And what we're now doing, and what we started to do, was we put a leaflet in their unemployment check and made sure that they took that unemployment check to the bank to open an account. And so we're now able to do direct deposit into their accounts. And we're looking to do the same with other services that are being managed across the state, or in this case, within the city.
So when you say they take the unemployment check, you're talking about if they get laid off?
If they get laid off, or even if they are receiving...
So if they're receiving anything from the state?
In this case, only unemployment.
Okay, so... All right, so it's a little tricky. So you're working, you have an I-10 number. Can you collect your unemployment with an I-10 number?
That I don't know.
The reason why I asked because you said unemployment check.
No,
or
I mean,
employment check.
what do you call it? So, pardon, maybe we're going to have a few barriers with the language here.
No.
Isn't the accent so nice though?
You mean employment check?
Yeah, you know, like when you're unemployed, you get some money
Right.
from IDES, from the Illinois Department of Employment and Security.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so normally what happens is, the statement that I always remember is that, but I'm waiting for my check, right? What we have now and then they changed it to a debit card. But what we're now saying, in order to build your financial history and background and be recognized in society from a financial perspective, we are now saying no more checks, no more debit cards that you just use, but they actually deposit the money into an account. The bank will then issue you a debit card, and then you can do your transactions through that. And that would help you build your banking career, for use of a better word.
Okay. I'm just trying to get it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Did you get it?
I think I got it. But it's just you were saying unemployment check, which kind of throw me off, because I'm thinking if you're unemployed, can you get a check? But I think you're talking about
Yes, you do.
Unemployment, unemployment income.
Okay. No, I did not know.
You work your whole life. That's what it is.
Yes. So
There it is.
It works off.
I did not know that you would get a check.
You
for
can.
unemployment with an I-10 number.
You're mixing
You're
two
mixing
things right
it.
now. We're talking about unemployment, regardless of the person having a social security number or an I-10. Could somebody with I-10 receive unemployment?
Okay, so that's what I'm being
Yeah,
checked.
it's just we're just talking about unemployment.
So whatever check you're getting,
Yes.
you can deposit that, and
Yes.
it is okay.
Yes.
I was just it was just
Might need some education on that.
No, just tripping me. So.
Well, we're here to learn. We're here to learn.
We're getting there.
We're getting there.
So something that I wrote some questions down, and how can somebody find information on which banks are participating in this program?
You go onto our website, Bank on Illinois.
Bank on Illinois. Okay.
And there's a list
And
of
there's
the
a
banks.
list of the banks. We actually have a heat map. And if you click on any of the heat maps, it will show you what banks are participating. And you can actually make inquiries on the website and then follow up and go into the bank. So that's how that works. But the other thing we also do is we go out to a lot of events.
Okay.
And banks like Devon Bank and some other banks always come with us, and we actually open bank accounts on the spot.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I witnessed it. Yes.
Yes.
So I imagine that, as summer's coming up, you guys may be going to different,
Organizations.
Yes.
That's what they.
That's what we do.
So what are some of the events that you guys go to?
Well, we go to quite a number. We work a lot with community organizations. We go to job fairs. We go to hospitality fairs. We go to anything where people need some form of financial advice. So to put it in perspective, the Bank on Illinois program is basically a financial empowerment program. So apart from opening accounts, we also have a team of experts that actually teach financial education. So we go all across the state talking about how to save, how to invest, how to budget, the usual things. But we also encourage them to start thinking about the future. And so there are a lot of other initiatives, like one of the initiatives that I'm currently working on, which I think is very important, bearing in mind that my colleague here doesn't know unemployment.
Oh, we do say that.
We're now talking about retirement.
Okay.
Because a lot of people don't understand how the real retirement process works.
Okay.
And so it's all about financial education. And it's starting from cradle to grave. That's how I put it. From where you started until, the grave. Don't want to be morbid, but that's the truth. But one of the other things I just want to highlight, because I see it's in your questions, but I want to kind of do a comparison, is there's a bank on Illinois, which covers the whole state, and then there's a bank on Chicago, which is managed by my dear partner, Tracy Frizzell, of the, I better not mention the organization. But she has been an expert in getting young people to open accounts. So, for instance, kudos to the increase in the number of summer youth that are going to happen this year. That means that we're going to get close to 3,000 new accounts for all the summer youth who participate in that program. And her focus has really been on focusing on the summer youth and getting them through the process within the city of Chicago and some suburbs. But she's also addressing some of the other financial issues as it relates to the community college system.
Okay.
And so she's doing that within the community college system to make sure that young adults are also getting accounts. We are doing that as well across the state, and so we work with a lot of community colleges right from northeastern Illinois down to East St. Louis to make sure that we build the financial capacity of young people as they transition from high school into the 4-year college system. And so that's also part. And so we're partners, we share a lot of accounts together, and we have a lot of work that has evolved, and I can go into a lot that has happened, but I'm sure you don't want to hear.
No, I mean, this is amazing. I was just thinking as you talked about it, this is an amazing program because, I mean, financial literacy for, high schoolers or, I'm just trying to figure out who decided to do this, because this is an amazing program that the state has gotten involved and try to, bring this to the table to realize that, as we know, the school loans and people going to college just blow their credit cards.
Absolutely.
You come in you come into high school and they give you a credit card, and then next thing you know you owe $2,000 and you only got $500 credit.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
So this is like a great thing for people coming up. So my mind that you're talking about, who thought of this? I mean, the need was always there.
The need was always
You're
there.
right.
So we have to give kudos to our controller, Susanna Mendoza, who stepped out.
Kudos to Illinois State Controller Susanna Mendoza.
Yes.
Kudos to her. All right.
For stepping out and
thinking out of the box.
And thinking out of the box.
Yeah.
And being the first state in the nation to actually set up Bank On as by legislation. Yes.
Wow, look at us.
And so that's huge because we're not going anywhere.
And then it got signed here.
And we got it signed here.
Nice.
The Comptroller Susanna Mendoza and Governor Pritzker were downstairs here, and me on me.
Yeah.
With the current Comptroller of the City of Chicago, Chase Reckmancourt,
Oh,
Yes.
Brickwinkle. Yeah.
No,
Brickwinkle.
Redwinkle.
Okay.
Chase. He used to work with us, but now he's the Chicago controller. I say all that to say, not to belabor the point, but we have a lot of exciting initiatives in the Bank On program. Will I be allowed to say a few things?
Yes.
Oh,
yes,
listen,
please. I was
your
about to mention.
it's
Please
your
tell us
platform.
everything
Go
you
ahead
can
and do
of
the thing.
all
It's
the
your
services,
platform.
all the initiatives. Yes.
So to be honest, viewers, this thing opened a can of worms.
Okay.
Okay.
So let me
Let's
start
taking
with-
notes.
Yeah. Go ahead.
So in as much as we're talking about bank accounts, which I understand as of last year we were third in the nation with the number of accounts opened in our state, what has also happened is there's been a huge discussion which was initiated by the young invincibles, 18 to 34-year-olds, who made sure that they allowed certain people who were over the age of 40 that we got it all wrong, and that we are to blame for them being in debt, having problems with managing money, and so on and so forth. So in light of their complaints, a House resolution was made, and the governor instructed that we write a report to address the needs of young adults in finance.
Okay.
And we did that. I think about 2 years ago. We were a partnership of 32 different people from banks, colleges, young people, and we wrote this report with a number of recommendations. Now, before I go into the recommendations, I just want to share that within the state of Illinois, financial education is very interesting. Depending on your zip code, you get financial education. Now, I've been told not to use the word mandate, so I didn't say the word mandate, but there is a law that gives some form of instruction, for use of a better word, on financial education. The question is, how has it worked for the young adults who are now going into college? I see my young person over there shaking his head. And so with him shaking his head, a lot of young people are like you, it didn't work. And so with the report, there were a couple of recommendations that were made. One of them was to review how K through 12 financial education is implemented or taught. Again, depending on your zip code, some people get a semester, some people just get 2 classes, and some people get nothing. And then alongside that, there was also the issue of the middle age and the seniors. How do we advise seniors on finances with all the scams and fraud alerts and things like that? And also young people leaving college, starting a career with a burden on them, and how do they address that? Which is why young Gabby will have to open a bank on account. So with all that being said, the recommendations that came out of that, which a lot of the financial institutions and community colleges and universities within the state and other financial practitioners are working on, is to set up a financial empowerment commission, which will then not so much push finance like we have to do it this way, but start monitoring what's already happening and see how we can improve what's already happening. And so a young kid in the south side of Chicago isn't taught, or the north side or the east side or the west side is not taught financial education, doesn't know that they can go to community college free of charge, doesn't know, and then ends up racking up debt because they're not given that information. So this commission, alongside a number of agencies, if it's approved by legislation, it's not approved yet, they're just talking about it, but if it is, will make a difference. So the emphasis here is Bank On has opened a can of worms.
Okay.
The can of worms is financial education needs to be reviewed, financial empowerment needs to be addressed, young adults, young invincibles need to learn on how to manage their funds by participating and opening accounts under the Bank On Illinois logo.
No, you have a lot.
I have a lot.
You have a lot to say. So what we'll do, we'll keep going, and and then we'll come back and we'll come back. So hey guys, listen, we're gonna come right back. Or the next episode will be Ms. Bola will continue because she has a lot to say. This is an important topic for many of the young people. So if you're listening, we wanted you to share this video, and as we post this on our social media, we want you guys to kind of keep it, just share it, because this is like so important. I mean, I am intrigued about the program that's now being offered by the state controller. I think that's incredible, and I think we'll kind of continue doing that. Yeah. So we'll come right back.